Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Thursday, the 2nd of February 2023. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 closed up just a touch today, 0.1% in fact, to 7,512 points. Now, it started strongly and in early trading was only about 1% below its all-time high early last year, but it fell back during the day. Now, the reason for the strong start was Wall Street, which I'll talk more about shortly. It was a great day for the tech stocks. Xero jumped 7.5% to $82.60. WiseTech Global was up nearly 7% to $63.53. It wasn't so good for QBE Insurance, which was the worst of the top 200, falling nearly 5%. CSL was a standout, up 1%, hitting a 52-week high. Macquarie Group was up almost 2%, while the retailers, Wesfarmers, Woolworths and Coles, all did well. But the iron ore miners, the banks and the energy companies all underperformed. In fact, they all went backwards, and it's very hard to get an index doing too well when the big iron ore miners, the banks and the energy companies aren't doing okay. In corporate news, Pinnacle shares fell sharply after the investment group said it would miss analyst profit forecasts due to rising costs and the dumping of equities by spooked investors over the past 6 months. Story number 2. Well, the past 24 hours or so have really been all about the US Federal Reserve and interest rates. The Fed's Policy Committee lifted the central bank's key rate by 25 basis points, as expected, and signalled further rate rises. But 25 basis points is less than last year's increments, and investors are finally seeing a light at the end of the interest rate hiking tunnel. That helped Wall Street surge, with the tech-heavy Nasdaq jumping more than 2%, while the broad-based S&P 500 rose 1%. Helping support tech stocks was the earnings announcement from Meta Platforms. Revenue at Meta, which of course owns Instagram and Facebook, was above estimates, suggesting digital ad sales are rebounding. In extended trading, Meta's share price was up about 10%. Now, the Australian dollar hit an 8-month high today of 71.57 US cents on the back of the Fed's announcement. Bond yields, which reflect expectations of future interest rate levels, fell back. Cryptocurrencies also benefited, with Bitcoin hitting its highest level since August, pushing above $24,000 a unit. And oil prices fell back as US figures showed a big rise in crude inventories. Story number 3, talks between Canada's Brookfield and US private equity group EIG Partners and Origin Energy continue, but the consortium might come back with a lower priced offer. The two companies started doing due diligence on Origin last November. They're still at it. Reports today suggest the group might come back with a lower bid that's lower than the current $9 a share offer. The two believe that changes in the regulatory environment, and particularly the federal government's gas price cap, which it introduced late last year, has altered the playing field. Story number 4, opposition leader Peter Dutton and former Prime Ministers John Howard and Tony Abbott joined more than 1,000 mourners today to farewell Cardinal George Pell in Sydney's St Mary's Cathedral. The 2-hour funeral included a eulogy from Abbott, who highlighted that Pell was the only person ever to have been Archbishop of both Melbourne and Sydney. He said the Cardinal was the greatest Catholic Australia has ever produced and one of the country's greatest sons. He likened the Cardinal, who spent 400 days in jail after being convicted of sexual assault, a conviction that was later overturned, as a saint, and he said his experiences were akin to a modern-day crucifixion. Outside the church, hundreds of protesters demonstrated, with many tying ribbons to their wrists in tribute to victims of sex abuse. And story number 5, Beijing has denounced a proposal to add Japan and India to the AUKUS Defence Technology Pact, accusing Washington, Canberra and London of fueling military confrontation through military collaboration. China's foreign ministry said it was seriously concerned about and opposed to AUKUS, according to The Australian. Asked about a proposal by the chair of Britain's Defence Select Committee for Japan and India to join the AUKUS grouping, China's foreign ministry said the original 3-country security partnership was already destabilising the region and being driven by Cold War thinking. That's it for the afternoon report for Thursday, the 2nd of February 2023. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.